Well, today it's becoming a reality very quickly because the marginal cost of sensing, computing, and communication is dropping to zero, or is, for all intents and purposes, zero. And Israel happens to be a pretty good place for this kind of technology. So very, very quickly, all of this has been said before, we are facing a huge disruption in mobility, not just in vehicles, not just in automobiles, from 100 years of driver-centric, gas-guzzling, and product-oriented to robotic, which means rider-centric, clean or cleaner energy, and service-sized. And it's not only on land, it's in air and on water. And it's not only at the vehicle level, but also at the fleet and the city level. And we have some early leaders out of Israel. You've seen a few of them. I don't want to rehash this. So Capsula, as the MC said before, was founded by Fuel Choices Initiative and Tel Aviv University to advance Israel as a leader in this domain. And we're doing that by connecting entrepreneurs, researchers at top universities in Israel, and industry partnerships. So we provide fellowships to researchers, we provide residencies in our accelerator, and we foster partnerships with the industry, the first one being with SNCF, the French rail company. The core of our program is our accelerator, and you'll see 5 companies pitching here in the next few minutes after the introductions of our panel. And I'll explain why this is a core. So what we do is quite unlike other accelerators in Israel. I think we're quite unique here, and many accelerators in the world. We do not bring entrepreneurs in to develop a product. We bring entrepreneurs in to validate the product with customers. And since there are very few customers in Israel, the global market is not here, we provide them with a methodology, tools, mentors from Startup Nation, studio space to work out of, a small grant that's really just sufficient to buy airline tickets, cheap motels, or couch surfing, even better. And what they do is, in a very intensive and short period, they go to meet customers in the world to validate their product hypothesis. And what this kind of process is done very, very intensively and with help of mentors. By the end, these companies, which do not yet have a full product, will already have customers. And to it, during this summer, these 5 companies have met more than 300 customers, B2B. 1 company is B2C, engaged with more than 1,000 customers, and there are 15 pilots with some of the leading companies in the world. In addition to that, what we get, the residual value of that is we get very interesting information about innovation ideas and about customer needs. We get hundreds or thousands of data points in 1 year. Next year, we'll be doing 2 cohorts in the spring and fall. Altogether, there'll be 20 companies, 20 startups, and that is the basis. This trending information on innovation will be the basis for a first-time Capsula conference at the end of next year, where this will be exclusive to our stakeholders, meaning to our industry partners, to our startups, all the alumni of Capsula, and to select researchers who work with us. We'll bring them in for 2-3 days to really get strategic insight for industry, anchors for research, for researchers at university, and context for the startups. So with that, I'd like to ask each one of our panelists to introduce yourself, take a few minutes, otherwise everybody will run away to lunch, and then we'll have the companies come up. We'll change the format a bit. I'll ask all the companies to pitch one after the other, and then throw some questions at you and hear your comments on the companies and the process. Thank you. Dana?
Good afternoon. And first off, I want to thank Fuel Choices for having me here. And this is my 4th trip to Israel this year, and I've really grown to love the culture, the people, and the startup nation. And this is the startup nation. Second, I'd like to introduce some of my colleagues. I'm joined here today by Eric, who heads our venture capital team, Rob Huber, who heads up our innovation process, and we've just hired our technology scout for Israel, Uri Pakhtor, who is also here. Faurecia, the first part of Faurecia, the slides we got to get in sync, are they? First thing you got to do with Faurecia is you got to be able to pronounce Faurecia. So I want everybody in the room here, this is easy, Faurecia. Okay, that's not real enthusiastic, we'll get there. But Faurecia is the 6th largest automotive supplier. And we're based in Paris, France. We are roughly $20 billion in sales, 100,000 employees, and #1 in market share for automotive interiors and seating and exhaust systems. Thank you. Okay. We're very dedicated to R&D, 30 R&D centers, over 6,000 engineers, and many, many patents. We spend about $1 billion a year on R&D activities. Core product categories I already mentioned is automotive seating, interior systems, and emission controls technologies. And within these, we have more scale and volume than any single OEM. So very, very high volume, very broad capabilities around the world. We're also very geographically distributed. Our majority in our home base is obviously Europe, which is about 50% of sales, but we're also distributed strongly in North America with 25% of sales, and our most rapidly growing market is Asia Pacific with about 18% of sales, and then other markets we also participate in. So we have very, very broad geographic distribution. We also have very broad customer distribution. We sell basically anybody that is making cars, we sell our parts and components to, but we're very distributed amongst the German, French, North American, and Asia Pacific OEMs supplying components and technology to them. And I think the advantage there is when you're a startup, you want to come and talk to a partner that can access the entire automotive market, not just a single element of it. What we're working on is really the next generation, what's next in automotive, and it's really about sustainable mobility. It's about being clean, it's about being green, and it's about being lightweight. And it's also what's next in terms of a connected vehicle. And in that, we're talking about wellness, autonomy, connectivity, and really having smart surfaces and materials. As I mentioned, we're heavily involved in really defining the connected vehicle, the future autonomous vehicles, in terms of what the new use cases are going to be as we convert to autonomous functionality for private ownership and robo-taxis and shared vehicles for more city centers. So this will be one last time we can try this again. Faurecia. There you go, there you go. Hey, thank you very much.
I'm Carsten Kausch. I'm a German engineer working for Audi China. I'm living and working in Beijing for 7 years now with family and some interesting projects. In total, working 17 years for Audi. I did several innovative projects, investment projects for Audi AG, and now for Audi China. For example, some years ago, the first car with internet in the car, or the MOST system, first cars, prototypes with MOST system near to series, sound systems, mobiles, all integration of these. Recently I was a project lead in China for the R&D center to build it up with 65,000 square meters and office, workshops, laboratories. We are doing there in China hybrid cars, battery development, software testing, and we are facing the daily traffic with about 6 million cars a day. My way to work is 12 kilometers. Takes me sometimes 1.5 or 2 hours. It's a strange traffic situation. So what can we do about this? The reaction to chaotic situation is information, and innovative information is what I'm searching here for some innovative companies. last year already I found a company, Supreme Architecture, which has a optical wireless communication system, which seems to be very interesting to us, what we are doing with a prototype project in Beijing. This year I already found also 2 very interesting companies. With them we want to go on also some prototype development in Beijing. Yes, I can make it short like this, and would say this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. Always good to be back in Israel. Thank you, Ariel, for inviting. I'm involved with Capsula and mentoring one of their companies. But going back to our background, I represent Best Group. We're based out of India. We have 3 businesses, automotive, education, and we're also doing startups now. Both starting up company and as well as investors in a couple of startups. We are tier 1 supplier to the automotive industry. We primarily engage from concept to design and series production. And in the startup area, we are also looking at smart mobility. India has a huge scope in this sector. And what brings me to Israel is discussing with a lot of Israeli companies how we can support them to come to a large country like India. We have 1.25 billion people. Mobility has a lot of headroom still. I think 18 out of 1,000 people still own car, which is very different than countries like Europe or US, where it runs into 600, 700 people per 1,000. So we feel that a lot of headroom is still there in India, and I think interesting technologies would find a lot of customers. More so because we are probably one of the largest smartphone penetration nations in the world, and this continues to grow. From our side, our focus is towards future drive technologies. That's what we do with our customers today, and we would like to progress further. In the interior sides on intelligent lighting solutions and a lot of services which we'll bundle together for B2C customers from our startup standpoint, as well as the exposure which we have to the market. So that's what is interesting for us, and we're looking forward to working together with companies from Israel and trying to help them come to India and serve the customers there.
Okay, first company, Cargofy. GuardKnox.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Danis Teschler. I'm the CTO of GuardKnox. And GuardKnox is a unique company. It's a unique company in the sense that our entire team is coming from the Israeli Air Force. We have the guys which actually worked on designing, building, and managing the cybersecurity solutions for Israel's most advanced military aircraft and for Israel's most advanced missile defense systems. And if you really think about it, your car is not that dissimilar from a plane. Both of them are moving platforms. Both of them have a lot of extremely complicated computers. And both of them need a very high degree of reliability and safety. Now, when we're talking about your modern car, today it's highly connected. It has 3G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and it keeps on coming as time progresses. And we're today at the point where cybersecurity for a vehicle is not only a matter of somebody stealing a few numbers from your phone. It directly affects your safety as the drivers and passengers of those modern vehicles, because attackers today can cut your brakes and cut your engine while you're on the road. So when we're talking about cyber solutions for a car, we can't really look at the IT world, because the IT world is focused towards keeping the data in your computer safe. And when we're talking about how it's being done, we're typically talking about solutions providing 95, 97% reliability, and sometimes even false positives. But when we're talking about moving reliable, safe platforms, we need 99.999999% reliability and an emphasis on safety. And this is why, a cybersecurity solution for your car needs to be, first, fully autonomous and independent of any other system in the vehicle. It has to have no human interaction, because you as a driver should not bother yourself with operating a cybersecurity system, but rather with driving or doing whatever you do in your autonomous car. And you shouldn't be dependent on the fact that you're connected. Even if your car is at a no coverage zone, it still should be secure and safe. And lastly, that cybersecurity solution should be built from the ground up as a cybersecurity solution and not patched into one of the computers in the vehicle. Now, our automotive product line is focused on two main products. The first one is a centralized solution, which allows us to secure the communication between the various networks in your vehicle. And the second is a localized solution, which we can install on specific high-threat ECUs, such as your infotainment system, which connects to the internet, or your telematics system, which also connects to the OEM, and provide dedicated security for those systems. Our unique methodology, which was developed for high reliability moving platforms, is the lockdown methodology, where we take the OEM's specifications for communication, we model them in a mathematical verifiable method, and create at the end what we call a communication schema, which is a formal model, and we lock it down in the sense that no message which was not designed by the OEM can actually pass through the communication in that vehicle. And when we're talking about technology, it was proven. It was proven both in the Israeli Air Force and in other high-priority organizations around the world. It integrates seamlessly into the vehicle architecture. Essentially, you can take our hardware platforms and drop them into existing vehicles and new vehicles without any modification to the car. And lastly, those systems were built to comply with standards. And when we're talking about cybersecurity and safety, it's not just because I'm telling you or GuardKnox is telling you that it's safe or secure. It's because it's compliant to both safety standards and cybersecurity standards, ISO 26262 and ISO 15408. So this is our team, as I mentioned, all Israeli Air Force graduates. And in our board of directors, we have Mr. Steve Gursky, who was the former vice chairman of General Motors, Ms. Mary Chan, former president of Connected Car Division and OnStar, also in General Motors, and General Aviv Binoun, former head of the Israeli Air Force and the founder of GM Israel. So if you'd like to know more, please come visit us at our stand outside. Thank you.
Every day, 100 million trucks worldwide travel, making their deliveries. But they do so inefficiently, as almost half of them travel partially or even completely empty. My name is Intakhab, and I'm here to tell you how we convert wasted capacity and inefficiencies in the trucking industry into money for our customers. If we look at Uber, we can see that it has changed the entire taxi industry by creating the largest network of drivers and reducing order and waiting time for customers. Or Airbnb, we changed the hospitality industry, and now we can quickly book places to stay in private homes at a lower cost anywhere in the world. But in the trucking industry, it still takes 2 hours to book a single load, and our goal is to reduce this time to 5 minutes. Our target market is India, where most deliveries occur by truck. India is an enormous market with 9 million trucks in a $120 billion industry. The majority of this fragmented market is made of small trucking companies with less than 5 trucks. The current problems in the trucking industry are, half of the time, truck drivers have partial or empty loads. Shippers often spend hours trying to find truck for urgent deliveries, and trucking companies have high fuel and operating expenses due to improper routing. The result are losses of $45 billion a year, and that is a huge waste of gas, manpower, and the bad side effects of air pollution and road congestion. This is why we created Cargofy, platform to convert inefficiencies in the trucking industry into money for our customers. Let's see how it works. If you want to shop something, you can use our website, mobile app, or even API for deeper integration. We calculate transport price immediately because we know the exact location of our trucks and available empty space. Then we automatically choose the most appropriate carrier and create the optimal route. You will be able to track the delivery process in real time, and after order has been completed, you can rate the driver. Last year, in Ukraine, my home country, we launched our app. In just a few months, we had completed 10,000 orders. This strong customer demand made us realize that our business would be well suited for even larger markets. Capsula helped us with customer validation and market research in India, where we now have a core team and currently launching the service. We built a great international team, including advisors, business executives, sales, and technical department, with whom I am incredibly proud to work. Yes, thank you for attention. I want to speak personally with each of you who are interested in Cargofy.
All of the Capsula companies have booths outside, and you're very welcome, of course, to stop by if you haven't done that yet. Our next company is RFIsee. Gil?
I am Gil. I'm the CEO of RFIsee. And we are developing a high-resolution 3D imaging radar on one chip. Because safer and autonomous cars need better sensors that can operate in all light conditions and in all weather conditions, heavy rain, heavy snow, and heavy fog. The only technology that operates in all weather, in all light conditions, is radar. And I'm not saying that radar is the only technology for the autonomous car or for a safer car. I'm saying that we should understand sensors' limitation and use them correctly. And we cannot use current automotive sensors for autopilot. As we unfortunately learned by the Tesla crash, when a man lost his life because the radar confused a road sign with a truck. So even though it's a large object like a truck, it was confused. And this is why RFIsee developing a high-resolution radar that if you're looking on current cameras that can generate a very detailed image, and you can understand the surrounding, but current automotive radar does not have such resolution. They do not generate such high-resolution images. They only have 1 to 4 beams, and in some separation inside the beam, so they have some information inside. But this is a very poor resolution, so you cannot run computer vision algorithm on that. This is why RFIsee developed a high-resolution radar that scan the environment and generate a high-resolution 3D imager. And now the autopilot can understand where our objects are located, what is nearby, what is far away, and can maneuver correctly and avoid accidents. And the beauty of our technology is that we can implement it on one small chip. And this is very crucial because we can reduce the cost of such a high complex system to be affordable to any car. And there are many cars, as you know, about 100 million cars sold worldwide each year. And it's a huge potential for RFIsee sensors. And we can transform those cars to safer cars that can drive in an urban environment and detect pedestrians. Because if you're using a one-beam radar, as you've seen by the Tesla crash, that it is very good radar, but it actually illuminating everywhere. And if you're illuminating all the scene, you're getting echoes from everywhere. So you can, all the echoes are mixed, and you do not have good reception. But if you're using RFIsee technology, you're using thousands of radar beams instead of one. And now the echoes from the cars, from the leaves, from the background are separated from the pedestrians. And now you have a better reception. And if you have a better reception and you generate an image, you can run a computer vision algorithm and then understand the surrounding. To do that, to build such complex chip, we have a highly experienced team, including radar experts, RF CMOS experts, image processing experts, computer vision experts, and of course, I'm coming from the digital part. We already won few prizes and had some pilot with some OEM and Tier 1. And if you are an OEM and Tier 1 or investor, we'll be very happy to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time.